husband who would relate this story. It's set in Karachi, 1967. Some of you may not have been born at that time, so if you can just stretch your imagination. Karachi was a lovely city. It was called the Paris of the East. It was vibrant, it was sophisticated, people were elegant, and I was 21. My husband had just come back, and he was not my husband then, please. My husband-to-be came back from Yale that year. He knew my brothers, and as it so happened, it was a small crowd of people. We used to all socialize together. But on this event, I was at a wedding, and my husband-to-be happened to be there. I mean, this is how he told it to me, so I'm repeating it. He said he saw me, and he said, "Who's that girl?" to his sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law turned around and said, "Forget about it. She comes from a very orthodox family. They would never consider you." Now, his family was Ismaili. They came from East Africa, business family. My family was Sayyid, Sunni. They sound like bad words today. And my father Cambridge educated, my mother Canad. I mean, these were people who had certain social standing, wrong as it may be. And I was totally oblivious of this. I went home, didn't know. A week later, an invitation comes to my brother that come and join us for dinner. My husband's older brother had been to school with my older brother. We're having a small dinner, we'd like you to come. And by the way, bring that sister of yours, that little one. So I came back from college and my brother said to me, "Well, get dressed, we're going out to dinner." And I said, "Who are we going to dinner with?" And he said, "Well, Saeeda Fancy and Saeeda Fancy." "I don't know them. I don't want to go." He said, "Well, look, it's a sit-down dinner and you have to come." So I went, dragging my feet, very unhappy. And I noticed there were only 6 people at this dinner. And I felt very peculiar because I really didn't know anybody on that table except my brother. And as we sat there, I thought to myself, oh, well, Nasreen, Rome, those days, was quite a swinging place and food was good. So, okay, there were some benefits to this dinner. I didn't enjoy myself. And in the course of the dinner, dinner ended and my husband-to-be came and said, "Can I have a dance with you?" So we went to the dance floor, and as we got there, the first words he said to me was, "Will you marry me?" And I was so horrified. I thought he was drunk. I remember stopping and saying, "Are you drunk?" And he said, "Why?" And I said, "What? You don't know me. I don't know you. I mean, how can you ask me to marry you? And besides, how dare you?" So dance ended and I stormed off the dance floor. I remember I was really upset. I kept saying to myself, how cheeky, how rude, how dare he, and I came and sat down and had my dessert and we went home and I forgot about it. A week later, my brother and my cousin were having a party at home, and those days parties used to start at 8 and end at midnight. We didn't have parties that started at 10, 11 and went on till good dinner, good dancing, good music. That was basically the way it was. And lo and behold, my husband-to-be walked in. And he walked right up to me and he said, "Well, what I said to you the other day, I meant it." I said, "Now this guy can't be drunk all the way through. There's something going on over here and it's really quite intriguing." You can't deny the fact that I was getting flattered now. And again, he asked me for a dance, and we talked, and I found him fun, and he was funny, and he was intelligent. He'd been to Yale. It sounded like a nice place to have gone to study. And as the dinner was ending, and we were walking out, saying goodbye to everybody, he said to me, "Can I meet you?" And I said, "Look, my family, girls don't go out. I don't think I'll ever get to meet you alone." So he said, well, how can I get in touch with you? And I said, I don't know. He said, can I write to you? And I said, sure, you can write to me. So where can I write to you? And I gave him a friend's name and no address, nothing. And look, 2 days later, I get a letter. My friend brings a letter and she says, well, this arrived. And believe it or not, we had a relationship that was only letters. We knew one another through letters for almost 4 months. When I graduated, I thought I should tell my parents. My mother was very upset, needless to say. She said, "Ye kya kar diya tumne?" And ye kaise ho sakta hai? Sayyad ladki, I mean, khojas kaise hoga? Ye hamari naak kat jayegi, ye wo वगैरह. And anyway, they were very nice. They said, just please don't cause any problems. I was staying with my uncle and aunt and they wanted me to marry their son, so there was a little sensitivity there. And my mother said, just wait and let's get back to Bangkok, where my father was working for the UN, and we will discuss matters in our own home. Sure enough, I left, got to Bangkok, and my father said to me, he said, look, it's all very well, this love, but you know, now that you're here and he's there, it's probably going to fizzle out. So let's just give it 3 months, no communication. And if he still wants you after 3 months, then we will talk about it then. So I said, well, at least let me tell him what your conditions are, because it's not going to be nice. So he said, okay, one last and only letter. So I wrote to him saying, this is what my parents are saying. Besides, you have to become a Sunni. You have to learn the namaz, and the wedding, if it ever takes place, will be in our tradition. And if that's all acceptable to you and your family, well, then we'll meet again. And so my husband, and I said no communication because my father doesn't want us to have anything to do with one another for 3 months. My husband was very smart, as I told you. He wrote a letter back, which I never saw. My father did open it. It was addressed to me, but it was actually addressed to my parents, in which he confessed that he had no intentions of upsetting my family, that he would do everything they asked him to do, that he would wait the 3 months it was not hard for him to do, and even more if they asked, and that he waits to hear from my father. I didn't know. I thought, well, how can a young guy, back from Yale, good looking, why would he want to hang out waiting for this girl? And so I got busy doing things. I started working, I started doing other things, and I was trying to keep my mind preoccupied. Well, Ando was writing letters, believe it or not, every other day. And my father didn't open any letter after that first letter. He kept them. And 3 months later, my father decided that it's time, this guy needs to be dealt with. So he wrote to my brother in Karachi, said, get hold of him, I'm coming, I want to meet him. Father arrived in Karachi, met with Anwar, and they had a wonderful meeting. My father, as he said himself, he said, I fell in love with him. He's a wonderful guy. He agreed to everything. Father put more conditions. Go to Lahore, meet with Khwaja Shahabuddin, meet with this one, meet with that one. I have to get everybody's opinions on you because I don't know you. So within that week, he traveled to Lahore and he met all these people that my father wanted him to meet. And the reviews were very good. And so it was agreed that his family should now come to Bangkok and officially propose, because that was the appropriate thing. So December 28th, he and his parents arrived in Bangkok. And I remember them coming to the house. My mother-in-law had come convinced that there was going to be an engagement. She had come with mathai and flowers, and she had saris for me, and she had, I believe, the ring was in her bag. My mother was not at all amused. She said, "Ye koi tarika hai? Pehle ladki ka rishta mangte hain, phir." So anyway, they arrived. Mother took everything and put it on one side. And they were sat down, and my father went through the whole thing with my father-in-law, who was very glib-tongued and very smart also. Turned around to my father and said, "I've come to take a daughter and give you a son. I have not come to bargain." Subsequently, there was no further discussion. There was much embracing, and my mother-in-law rushed to the pile, pulled the matai, and shoved something sweet in my mouth and something sweet in Anva's mouth, and pulled out a ring and put it on my finger, and she said, "Now it's done." So we were engaged, and the talk of marriage came up, when the dates, and my father said, "Well, December mein baat sochenge, tab December mein hogi." And this is now, I think it was the 7th of January when we got engaged. And my husband said, "Well, waited a hell of a long time. We really got to speed up things here." So he figured out that my parents' wedding anniversary was 15th of March. And when they got married 30 years ago, it was on a Friday. And this 15th that was coming was also on a Friday. Auspicious, so he went to my father and he said, "This was not going to come back in I don't know how many years, and you can't let this opportunity pass." So we got married on 15th of March, 1968, and Anva was an absolutely delightful man. And I must say that I was blessed to be married to him for 37 years, and we planned to live a long life together. But we have 3 glorious children, and they all have a little bit of him. Fortunately, his sense of humor and his mental capacity is humorous and funny and wonderful. And I'd like to read to you just one little bit from his letter, because I think it'll just tell you what kind of a man he was. So if you don't mind. I brought two of them with me, but I'm only going to read one. It's a wonderful description he gave me of love. It's difficult to understand this emotion, he says. There is a lovely book you must read called Erich Fromm's The Art of Love. In it, he tries to describe and define the feeling that so many have mistakenly supposed themselves to have experienced, and the very few who really love. It's a very difficult emotion to comprehend. The essence is in the oneness, the basic feeling of sensitivity, beyond just trust and sacrifice, a total giving and understanding. And then he wrote me many poems of Tagore, who he loved. And this one in particular, which he said sort of epitomized our relationship. Hands cling to hands and eyes linger on eyes. Thus begins the record of our hearts. It is the moonlit night of March. The sweet smell of henna is in the air. My flute lies on the earth, neglected, and your garland of flowers is unfinished. This love between you and me is simple as a song. It is a game of giving and withholding, revealing and screening again. Some smiles and some little shyness and some useless struggles. No mystery beyond the present, no striving for the impossible. No shadow behind the charm, no groping in the depth of the dark. We do not stray out of all words into the ever silent. We do not raise our hands to the void for things beyond hope. It is enough what we give and we get. We have not crushed the joy to the utmost to wring from it the wine of pain. This love between you and me is simple as a song. He said, "I think this is beautiful. I wish I had written it. It's so simple and unpretentious, so much like the one that I read to you just now, which is, I have bared my life before your eyes from end to end with nothing hidden or held back. That is why you know me not. But it is a heart, my beloved. Where are its shores and its bottoms? You know not the limits of this kingdom. Still you are its queen."